Hey folks, I just want to remind you to check out my eBay store at SeemsGoodMagic.com for some playsets and singles. I also want to remind you to check out live stream times, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, and also follow us on Twitter at SeemsGoodMagic. Thanks, and enjoy the video. Hey folks, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. Today I'm doing a little intro to Hearthstone for you all if you haven't seen this game yet. This is Blizzard's digital card game. I would almost say 100% it's a response to Magic the Gathering Online. So they've basically taken a lot of elements from Magic the Gathering and sort of streamlined it, made it much more simple, eliminated mana flood, mana screw, and added their own little flavor to it. So in this game you choose a class, and you have 9 different classes to choose from currently, and then you get to do some deck building just like Magic. So you have in this game you have a 30 card deck. You don't need any lands. There's class specific cards. So if I were to make a Druid deck, you can add Druid cards to it, but in addition to that there's also generic cards. So generic cards can be added to any class's deck. So far, I've played the game. I've probably put about 18 to 20 hours into it. The game is still in beta, but it is a lot of fun. This game is great. It's got less than 400 cards in its card pool currently, but there's definitely still plenty of combinations and stuff to do, and it's a lot of fun. So today I'm going to be doing an arena for you, which would be just about the same thing as a draft, except another advantage of Hearthstone over Magic is you can draft your deck and then pretty much just walk away from it for as long as you want, which is kind of cool. So you can walk away from your draft deck and come back later and do your games. So as soon as you get 3 losses, your arena is done, or as soon as you get 12 wins, which is the max, then you can't do any more either. Some more things to explain to you. It's free to play, so you can pay some money and you can get your gold, which purchases arenas and packs and stuff like that. Or you can just play a bunch of games and slowly but surely you accumulate gold, so you can do the same thing. I should also add, the arena is significantly cheaper in Hearthstone than a draft is in Magic the Gathering Online. You can do an arena, I believe, for about $3, whereas a draft in Magic is about $12 to $15. So substantially cheaper, more streamlined, no mana screw. I said earlier you choose a class. Every class in this game has a class-specific ability that you can use your mana crystals to use their abilities. So the way that they eliminated mana is every turn you accumulate a mana crystal, and then that maxes out at 10. So you're just slowly accumulating mana to cast your spells. So that's how they eliminated mana screw. Okay, well, I'm going to jump into an arena, and I'll show you a little bit about how the draft process works in this game. Okay, so 150 gold gets you into the arena. We've got that. So it starts you off, you get to choose, they randomly choose 3 classes, and you choose which one you would like to start drafting a deck towards. So I like the Druid quite a bit. They have a lot of spot removal, removal that takes care of an entire sweepers, stuff like that. Their class ability is they gain a shield, they gain an attack, the Druid itself. The Shaman is very interesting. His class ability is he summons little totems, random ones that do random abilities. He also has this class ability called Overload, which is kind of a disability, unlike in Magic. Overload makes it whatever overload number, and then when you cast that, the next turn you generate that much less mana crystals. So the idea is it's very efficient to cast, but it kind of punishes you the next turn. And then there's Warriors. Their class ability is they gain 2 shields. And shields are just like extra hit points. Warriors also get a lot of equipment. There's equipment in this game, weapons that your avatar uses. So I'll be able to explain this a little bit better when we actually jump into a game. But I think I'm going to choose the Druid. I'm a big fan of the Druid. Here's their class ability. So you choose your character, and then it just randomly shows you 3 cards. I think the way they do it is that little crystal in the middle is the rarity, and I believe these are uncommons. So how it works is it'll show you 3 cards of all the same rarity, and you pick which one you want. And then randomly you can end up choosing between legendary cards or rares, commons, stuff like that. So let's take a look here. Savagery. Deal damage equal to your hero's attack to a minion. Seems okay, but it's very difficult. I don't think druids get a ton of different weapons, so this doesn't seem like it would work too often. There are druid spells called Claw and stuff like that, where it boosts your hero's attack. So I'm sure this card works very well in conjunction with other cards. Master Swordsmith is quite good. He's a 2-mana 1/3, which isn't great, but he gives another friendly minion +1 attack at the end of each turn. So I kind of like the Master Swordsmith. I don't have a ton of experience with the Savagery. I think it's a little more difficult to use unless we're guaranteed to get some of those claws or swipes, other stuff that gives your druid attack. Okay, so we'll take the Master Swordsmith here. Follow-up pick. So Innervate's kind of interesting. It ramps you 2 mana crystals, 1 turn only. So it can help you drop a fatty, which is pretty good. I kind of like this Silverback Patriarch, though. I think he's fine. Taunt is an ability where enemies must attack this minion. So any minions with taunt, your opponents have to attack those first. They can still cast spells on any of your creatures, but they have to attack the taunt guys first. Another beautiful part about this game is there's no time restriction. Since I'm not literally drafting with 7 other people, I can take as much time as I want to decide on the picks. I am a little bit disappointed they only let you choose between 3 cards at a time. Seems like it's a little bit small amount, but it's okay. So we're going to take the Patriarch here. Okay, follow-up pick. Archmage is actually pretty good. He's a little bit expensive, but spell damage +1 is nice, and druids have quite a few damage dealing spells, so I think Archmage is actually going to be the pick here. Okay, Jungle Panther has stealth, so it can't be attacked or targeted until it deals damage. Card's pretty good. Another Innervate, and Wisp is a 0 mana 1/1. It's kind of like this game's Memnite. I think we're just going to take the stealth dude. I like what he can do. He's not good against sweeper spells, but he usually gets a nice attack in and kills something big. He's pretty efficient. Okay. Now we can take Stampeding Kodo, which destroys a random enemy minion with 2 or less attack. I like this guy. Alarmobot. Start of your turn, swap this minion with a random one in your hand. It seems a little bit difficult to use since it's random. Defender of Argus is quite good. I think I'm going to take him. The nice part about this card is even if they've killed the defender, he permanently gives those minions +1/+1 and taunt. So he's a good card. Okay. Now we can do Spiteful Smith. Like I said, druids don't get much weapons, so this guy's not great. Archmage, again, a second one. It's probably fine. Otherwise, Sinjin Shieldmate, 4 mana 3/5 taunt. Not too shabby. Why don't we just take a Sinjin Shield? Oh, Shield Masta, not Mate. Excuse me. Okay. Bloodsail Raider, gain attack equal to the attack of your weapon. Once again, we don't have weapons, so he's pretty much just a 2 mana 2/3, which isn't terrible. Or we can take another Jungle Panther, or we can take a Leper Gnome, which is a cheap little dude. I don't mind taking another Panther. Yeah, let's take a second Panther. I think that's acceptable. Okay. Silverhand Knight is a very good card. 4/4 and you get another 2/2 Squire. It's pretty good. Fairy Dragon is pretty good. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. And Murloc Tidehunter is fine, but not amazing. I've started to draft a little more mid-range. Usually you can get away with that. It's hard to get aggroed out super fast. It does happen occasionally, but usually you at least get a couple opportunities to cast your more mid-range stuff. So yeah, I think we're going to take the Silverhand Knight here. I like him. Okay, Garabashi Berserker is a very strong card. He's probably one of my favorite cards. But that being said, the Wolf Rider has charge, and charge is like haste because, like Magic, this game has summoning sickness. So I think we're going to go with the Wolf Rider on this one. I like this guy. Pretty much just play him like a lightning bolt because there's some classes that get attack and they can just kill him. Like a mage can just use their class ability and kill him. So Wolf Rider works well as just a like lightning bolt style effect. I could take the Berserker. I really do like this card a lot, and it's probably early enough where picking up another 5-drop's okay. But the Wolf Rider is very good removal. That's tough. I guess we'll go with the Wolf Rider. Okay, these I believe are rares. So now we get some options here. I actually like the Sea Giant quite a bit. I've paid like 4 crystals for him before. 4 mana, 8/8, obviously very efficient. Ancient of Lore though. Choose 1, draw 2 cards, or restore 5 health. So I'm assuming you pay 7 mana, 5/5, and you get to draw 2. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Or you can restore 5 health, so if you're far behind in a pinch. That's pretty good. I'm not opposed to that. Draw 2 cards seems very efficient. Replaces himself, gives you more value, and you get a 5/5. 7 mana 5/5 is not great, but I don't know who I like more here. 8/8s are very difficult to deal with. There are spells, obviously, that just kill creatures, but this guy obviously does not die to burn spells easily, so there is that. And you can play him fairly cheap. Haven't gotten a chance to play this Ancient of Lore yet. I think I'm going to try him out. Okay, Divine Shield typically is good, but once again, there's classes like the Mage that can just deal damage to it and ping it and get rid of its Divine Shield. And Divine Shield is, the first time it takes damage, you ignore it, so. Dalaran Mage, we still have 20 cards left that we're going to draft, 19 after this. So we may just want to pick up the Mage and ideally get some more, get some spell damage effects. It looks like we don't have any so far, surprisingly. We've drafted all creatures this whole time. But I think we'll still take the Mage. That's okay. I like the Engineer quite a bit. Battle Cry is when it enters, or when you play it from your hand, it does something. So 2 mana 1/2, not great, but it draws you, it replaces itself, so I like it. Let's see. Stormpike Commando's okay. He comes in and deals 2 damage to something, so you can potentially get a 4/2 and kill something. Acolyte of Pain I like quite a bit. When it takes damage, you get to draw a card. I do like the Acolyte of Pain. I think we're going to go with the Stormpike Commando. I could see that being pretty valuable as a little removal card. Flesh-Eating Ghoul is decent. If you have a good combat where a lot of trades are going to happen, he can get huge the turn you play him. Ancient Brewmaster requires that you return a friendly minion from the battlefield to your hand. So he's okay as well. We have quite a few cheap spells, and we have a couple that have value when they enter, so he's potentially good. And 4 mana 5/4 is very efficient. I think I will try him out. I don't play him much. I like the Stormwind Champion. We're starting. I usually like about 1/3 of my deck, maybe a little bit less, to be 5+. So you don't want too much high-end stuff, but then again, you really don't want too much low-end stuff because sometimes you really need the answer to your opponent's creatures. I'm really surprised we haven't gotten one spell yet. That's actually pretty unheard of. I don't know if I've ever drafted that many cards and not seen one spell. I don't even know if we've gotten a Druid class-specific spell yet, surprisingly. No, we haven't. We haven't gotten one Druid class-specific spell this whole time. Very surprising, but Stormwind Champion is pretty good. I think we're going to take him. He's a good finisher. Okay, here we go. So here we can take Bite, and this is actually a Druid spell. You can tell by the how the card template is a little bit different. So this gives my hero +4 attack and 4 armor, which is very good. I like that. Pretty much you can kill a 4/4 or any 4 toughness guy for that matter. So this would have worked well with that 1-drop spell we saw in the beginning, but I'm still not regretting passing that. We'll take the Bite. Okay. Soul of the Forest is definitely an interesting spell. With the sheer amount of creatures we have, I think it would be pretty good in this deck. And Death Rattle is when that creature, when your creatures die, you basically get a 2/2 tree ant. So it puts some value in your creatures. There's times where this spell is worthless, though. So I may be better off just taking the Dragonling mechanic, which hooks you up with a 2/4 and a 2/1 for 4. Not too shabby. Murloc Raider is a cheap guy, but I don't think he's necessary. Let's go with the mechanic. Another Bite. The Auctioneer is quite good. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a card. And unlike Magic, spells in this game are not your creatures. The only thing that are spells are things like Bite or Burn spells and stuff like that. So this does not work with creatures. And for that reason, I think he's actually pretty bad in this deck. We're going to take another Bite, get a little bit more removal. So this is a 2-mana 2/1 hasty guy. The Warlord gets bigger for each friendly minion. It's not bad. I think we'll take the Bluegill Warrior. This guy works as like a shock, so he can be okay. He's not great, but he's playable. And we do need, I'd like a little more low-end stuff in here. Okay, we might want the second Defender of Argus here. That's pretty good. Ancient Mage would be good if we had more burn spells, but we don't. Twilight Drake I've seen him do a lot of work. He can come in as a 4/5 fairly often. I think we're just going to take the second Defender, though. We have a ton of creatures, so this thing really creates a lot of value. Alright. Wind Fury is a new ability we haven't seen yet, so this is Double Strike, essentially. It can attack twice each turn. It's actually better than Double Strike, because you can choose the 2 targets that you want to attack. I don't think I explained to you yet either. In this game, you can choose to attack your opponent's creatures. You don't just have to. It's not just declare attacks. It's, do you want to attack their creatures or do you want to attack the player? And when you attack the creature, they both deal damage to each other. And think of it as if everything has Wither. So the HP is permanently lost. Unlike Magic, where they lose that toughness until end of turn and then they get it back. In this, they permanently lose that toughness. So a little bit different. I like this Power of the Wild. This is potentially very good. It's dual purpose. It's also a Druid-specific spell. So 2 mana, you could get a 3/2 Panther, or you can just buff all your guys. So I like it. Versatility is very good. I can get another Charge Dude. I don't know if I need to do that. Darkscale Healer can actually be very strong, potentially. And with the sheer amount of creatures we have in here, I think we're going to go with that. Okay, we can go Swipe, which I think we are going to do, even though we are getting very clogged in the 4-drop department. Swipe is a awesome removal spell. And if it says enemy like that, deal 4 damage to an enemy, you can actually target the player with that, so I like it. Or a creature, so. And then any of the guys, like my Archmage that gives spell damage +1, or my Mage. So this would deal 5 damage and 2 damage to all their enemies. So Swipe gets very strong with those guys. Dark Iron Dwarf is also very good value. 4-drop that gives a minion +2 attack. And Amani Berserker is decent. Nice that it's cheap. But I think we have to go with the Swipe here. Okay. Naturalize I don't like that much. It is a 1-mana spell that destroys any minion, but your opponent drawing 2 cards is actually kind of a big deal. So I think we're just going to go with the Berserker, get some more low-end stuff. Alright, looks like we get another rare here. What's this Blood Knight do? All minions lose Divine Shield, and then you gain +3/+3 for each shield lost. Unfortunately, this isn't that good in our deck. I don't think we have any Divine Shield, do we? I believe we have no Divine Shield, so this guy's kind of a moot card. I think we'll just go with the Sea Giant. He's fine in here. We have a lot of creatures, so we can potentially make him a lot cheaper. It also works with how many minions your opponent has, so he's potentially very cheap. Otherwise, Mountain Giant gets cheaper for each other card in your hand, but I don't know if I like that as much. I think I like the Sea Giant more. 1 mana 0/4 Taunt. It's fine, not amazing. Booty Bait Bodyguard. All guys with Taunt are pretty nice because they draw attack off of you. So I think we'll go with the Bodyguard, even though he is another expensive card. Moonfire only deals 1 damage for 0. I mean, 1 damage is not, in my opinion, impressive enough to take this card. I've actually never seen Moonfire before. We're just going to go with the 2 mana 2/3, get some more low-end stuff. Claw is a great spell. Gives your hero +2 attack and 2 armor for 1. I like that, and it's a druid-specific spell. Gives us some more early stuff to do if they're trying to aggro us out. And I would say at this point we have a great late-game plan. At this point we need to just sort of fill up on cheap stuff. That being said, I really do like Druid of the Claw a lot. This card is very strong. The versatility on it's great. You can give it haste, or it can get +2 health and taunt, so I like that guy. But we're going to go with the Claw, just protect ourselves a little bit. Here we'll take the Leper Gnome, who's fine. Not amazing. Big fan of Emperor Cobra. It's pretty much like it has Death Touch. So this thing gets you a lot of value, and I like it. Violet Teacher would be fine if we had more spells, but we really don't have that many. Alright, well, drafted the deck, so now theoretically, I could walk away from this draft for as long as I want, and then you can come back whenever you want, which is pretty awesome. So we'll start the games, and I'll give you sort of a play-by-play or how it works. Overall, this deck, it's not great. Like I said, I'm very surprised we ended up with so few spells. The druids are usually have quite a few spells, and we missed out on some of the more badass ones that deal damage and draw cards and stuff like that. But that's okay. I think this deck's decent. Not the best curve I've ever seen, but this could potentially get there. All right, I'll show you some games now.